Welcome back to the channel, everyone. In today's video we're going to be replacing the rear MG badge on my MGTF. So it's been a while since my last video. Partly that's because it's been winter and the car's been in the garage in storage for the last couple of months, and it's just been quite hard to work on the car when it's in the garage. Thankfully this week the weather is nice and dry. Still cold, but dry, that's the main thing. So you can get the car out onto the drive and do some work around the car. So the little job that we've got today is to replace the MG badge. Now, you might be looking at this and thinking, that looks a pretty good MG badge that's on there already. Now, you'd be right, and this was only fitted last year. The reason for me wanting to change it now is that this was a cheap eBay badge, and this is an official MG badge. And you can tell that because it's got the MG Rover label on the packaging. And the difference is, and you probably see this a little bit later on when we go through the video, is that the official one isn't as yellow as the eBay special. It's a little bit creamier, whereas the yellow in this one is actually a little bit mustardy colour, and to be honest, although it is nice, it isn't right. So the anal car owner in me has got to change it. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to crack on and start working our way through it. Hopefully we'll be able to get it off just with a little bit of floss behind the badge, and then we can pull it off. They do have some adhesive on the back which sticks them on, so if we might need to heat that up ever so slightly with a hairdryer, or if you've got a heat gun on a really low heat, then you could heat it up and take it off. Once it's off, then we'll clean the area before putting the new one on. So that's the job for today. So the first thing that we're going to do in order to get the badge off is to try and heat the glue behind the badge. Really what we're doing there is trying to make it nice and soft so that when we put the floss in behind the badge, it should just cut straight through. Not helped today by the fact that it is really quite cold, but we are going to give it a go and see what happens. I'm using a hairdryer to do this. You can use a heat gun on a really low heat setting. Probably would work better than a hairdryer because a hairdryer is not going to get as hot. What you need to remember whether you're using a hairdryer or a heat gun is everything you do around the badge, whether it's this badge or any other badge, you're trying to make sure you don't damage the paint. So don't heat it up too much because that can cause issues with the paint. Likewise, when we move on to some of the other things that we're going to use to get the badge off, we're conscious always of making sure that we don't damage the paint underneath. So I'm going to get the heat gun on and start heating this up. Badge now heated up, and the glue hopefully heated up a little bit up behind it. We're going to work quite quickly, and we're going to start off with some just dental floss. A nice thick one is ideal for this purpose, and what we're doing here is just putting the dental floss in behind the badge and just using a gentle sawing motion to pull down, and you'll see we're starting to work our way through that glue. Now what you'll find when you do this with these badges is there's two little prongs that go through the back, which you won't be able to cut through because they go through the bodywork of the car, and it's the reason why you won't be able to pull the floss all the way through the badge. But that is nicely done now. What we should be able to do is start to pull it up. The floss is broken. And pull it off slightly. So here we go. You see it coming off? Now, here's a tip for you. As you're taking it off, avoid the temptation to pull it down or pull it in one specific direction, because what you can do there is lever the badge into the paint and damage the paint underneath. What you want to do is try and lift the badge off in one go, just like that. So the badge comes off in one go. And the reason, as I say, why you do that, because if you pull it down, the edges of these badges can catch on the paint underneath, and can leave you with scratch marks in your paintwork. So there we go, the badge is now off. And we're going to look at what we're left with underneath the badge. So this one is definitely not too bad. Sometimes you take these badges off and the adhesive underneath has really stuck to the car, and you can see it stuck to the paintwork. If you're debadging a car, what you'll want to do is remove all of that and get it nice and clean. For me, really, it's just about making sure that we get it clean enough so that when we put the new badge on, it sticks to the paint really nicely and doesn't come off. So I'm not going to be looking for perfection here, but I am going to try and get some of this off. Now, there's a few different ways that you can do this. Now, one of the things that you can do is use an auto solvent on the car. I don't have any of that, so that's not what I'm going to be doing. I have heard people using diluted methylated spirits and things like that, but to be honest, it makes me a bit nervous putting methylated spirits on paintwork, so we're going to avoid that one as well. But what we are going to do is use something that I did have in the car cleaning box, which is a tar and sap remover. I don't know whether this is going to work, but logic tells me if it can remove tar, we might have some luck in removing the adhesive as well. So I'll give this a good shake. This all shook up, let's put some on a cloth and get this cleaned up. But there we go, nice and clean. What I will do next is, while the badge is off, I'll put some wax on there, just make sure it's nice and clean before we put the new badge on. Okie doke, so got a couple of new cloths, new products, new cloths. I'm going to start off by putting some Autoglym super resin polish on there, polish that up, and follow it up by putting the Auto Finesse wax on there, which is a fusion hybrid car wax. To put the polish on, we're going to use a microfiber cloth. It's one of these. Put a bit of polish on there. Dab it onto the area, rub it, not too much, and then we'll let it dry before we'll buff it off. Just like that. With the polish now dry, we're going to use a clean part of the cloth that hasn't got the polish on it, and then we're just going to buff the area until we get a nice shiny finish and no polish. What I like to use next is a wax. I always like to put wax on all of my cars. I think it gives them a little bit extra protection on the paintwork when it rains and from the elements. So we're going to put some of this polish on. This time we're using a foam applicator. I'll try and put links down below for all of the things that I've used today to help you if you want to do the same thing. So with this, we'll put it on the foam applicator and then we just apply it to the area quite liberally, like that. And then again, just like the polish, we'll let that dry So we've let the wax dry for a few minutes now. I'm going to buff that off and then put the new badge on. Got a nice new clean foam applicator pad out to do the job with. So yeah, we'll buff that wax off now with the foam applicator. Just like that, nice and clean. With all the products now on, area now nice and clean, I'm just going to go over it one final time with a detailing cloth just to get off anything excess and just buff it to a nice clean finish. So we have our nice new MG badge which we're going to pop on. Now earlier I talked about there being the two holes, these two lugs on the back of the badge. Now these lugs match up with these holes here, so there is only one way of putting this badge on. So let's peel that backing off, just like this, and then line those up, and you'll feel that the lugs fall into place, and then just push the badge on. So there we go, nice straightforward job done on the car, fitting an official MG Rover badge on there instead of one of these cheap eBay replicas which I'd fitted to the car previously. Really happy with how that turned out, and I'm sure you'll agree it looks a lot better than the one that was on there before. A very straightforward job to do, and one that you can all do yourselves very easily. I hope you found today's video helpful. If you did, please give the video a like and consider subscribing to the channel for upcoming videos. In the next video I'm going to be fitting a brake servo bracket to the car, which is a job I'm actually really looking forward to. And until next time, I'll see you soon.